Hello and welcome to the Chatty Runners podcast. My name is Sophia.
My name is Andre.
And my name's Dan.
We essentially are here because we all share a love of running, but we also share a love of something else. And Dan, what is the other thing?
Chatting, being talkative.
Yes, exactly. Bingo. I was worried you were going to say something else then and it
I
wouldn't
could have said cycling, but I don't think you guys are into that.
would have got the answer wrong if you'd said cycling. So we love running, we love chatting and talking about running. And so we thought, what better way to share that with the world than via a podcast? So that is why we're here today for episode three, after a 1 week hiatus of the Chatty Runners podcast. And this week, our main subject is going to be the formerly 6-star, now 7-star, and soon to be 8-star World Marathon Major Series and other event series as well. So that's what we're going to be getting into talking about today.
So like any good run, we need a good warm-up. And every week we have a little bit of a warm-up before we get into the main subject. So this week's subject is, what is your proudest race moment? Now I'm going to start with, on my screen here, top left, Sophia. Go for it. What's your proudest race moment?
So it's not a traditional answer. I have had lots of races that have gone really well and I've been proud of them. But I actually think this might have been one of my topic suggestions because I have a slightly, I guess it's kind of like a sad story, but I basically DNF'd. And then I came back on the course. Well, I never technically left the course, which is why I think it's fine. But I did stop and I sat down and I had a little chat with myself. And essentially after about 20 or 30 seconds, I said, let's actually just keep going. And I finished the race. And so that's my proudest. It was like, I've had DNFs before and I don't feel any shame about them. Like, I think that is absolutely something that you can do if you want and you should never feel any shame about it. But in that moment, like nearly DNFing and then just convincing myself that there was another option and going with it, I'm really proud of that because it's just easy once you think you've made up your mind to stay in that place. And I managed to change my mind, which was great.
Which race was it, by the way?
Just a 10K. So it was a classic, like went out too hot, felt like I couldn't keep up the pace for the rest of the distance and therefore wasn't going to get a PB. And it was just that typical, like caring more about the end result rather than the effort I was putting in because like I was putting in a hard effort and actually looking back, I could have just thought, this is getting really hard. This isn't sustainable. Could have just slowed down a bit and carried on. But instead I threw all the toys out the pram, decided I was stopping, like had a little sit down, but then managed to say to myself, look, like it's not all about the number on the clock, which I think like we as runners, the logical part of our brain knows that, but there's, that some other part of the shadow self that, just like felt the pressure and felt like, it wasn't worth continuing to have a hard run if I wasn't going to get the time on the clock that I wanted at the end of it. So I'm just proud of myself for being like, you know what? No, you can still run the rest of this race. It'll be good for your fitness. It'll be good for your training. The result's going to be whatever it will be, but you don't have to just stop now because you didn't get your A goal. There is another option. So I'm proud of myself for that.
Yeah. It's not always about PBing, is it?
No.
Did you ever find that you've used that sort of mentality in races like since that?
Yeah. It's helped a lot to like, I think it was all part of like a bigger sort of, dare I say, journey in terms of like the mental side of the sport and just like being kind to yourself. But I definitely feel like I'm a lot less inclined to have that kind of, I guess that kind of, mentality of like, well, if I'm not going to get the result, it's not worth it. I'll DNF. Like, I don't think that's not happened since. And I don't see how it would, because I think now I'd be much more like, I just need to slow down. Today's not the day for it, but I can have another great outcome. I can have a stronger, finish. I can, if it's a longer race, like focus on my fueling or have all these other types of wins from it. So but like I said, I was just proud that I actually just turned it around.
grabbed grabbed something from, I would say victory from the jaws of defeat, but it was kind of you made the best of it
Imposed?
really, didn't you?
Yeah. Self-imposed defeat and then self-imposed not victory, but at
Yeah.
least a finish line.
The moral here is never you don't have to chase your PBs on every single run.
Yeah, and if it's not going to plan, you can DNF, and like I say, I have done that, and I still don't feel any shame about it, but you can also just accept that it will be slower, and that's fun too in its own way.
Yeah. Andre, let's go for you. What has been your proudest race moment? I'm quite interested to hear this one because you've done some big races, and I really want to hear what it is.
I think my proudest moment has got to be like completing my first marathon, just getting to the, just crossing the finishing line because I know how hard that was for me to just from, people think of a marathon as this,
Mhm.
massive feat of endurance, um, and it definitely felt like that. Just that for me, it showed me that I can do hard things, and to go thousands of miles away from home as well, and in a totally new city, somewhere like that, totally a foreign country, everything like that. It just proved to me that we talk about the journey. It's that, as I said, you can do hard things, and if you put your mind to it, if you dedicate, if you put yeah, dedicate like as I did 6 months or so to the plan, and I was able to do it. And since then, I've able to adopt so many that mentality to so many other things, not even running related, and it's sort of helped me grow as a person, just away from the running track. So yeah, just finishing my first marathon. It probably, even if my first marathon had been anywhere else, it just happened to be New York. I think had I completed it somewhere closer to home, I probably would have felt exactly the same. So it's just being able to, at the end of that process, I was able to finish something that was on a bucket list that a few years earlier hadn't even been on there. But that was my, yeah. It's still to today. Like, it's still my proudest moment. I always just smile when I think about the crossing the finishing line.
It's difficult to tell because you're generally smiling most of the time. Um, it had added kind of like, pressure on you because firstly, it was overseas and it's a long way to go to DNF, isn't it?
Yeah,
And secondly, it was part of the running channel, and you being recorded, and although it would have been really, really good video, it would have made a good TV, I think they say. It would have been horrible to see you fail at that point. It just would have. I mean, hadn't met you at that point, and it would have broken my heart. I'd followed kind of like your journey on the running channel socials, and uh, to have seen that. I mean, it's bad enough seeing Rick Kelsey struggling through knee injury, but to see you do that, to not complete that would have been just horrible.
I always said to myself that I think this is what I'd go for every marathon that I'm going to do. If I have to crawl across the line, I'm going to finish that. I'm going to get the medal at the end of it, which sort of links to what we'll be talking about later. But yeah, if I just want that medal at the end of it. That's my saying I completed it. If I finish a marathon in 10 hours, then it doesn't matter because I've finished the marathon. I've been able to do that whole distance, and I can pat myself on the back, even if it was hard, even if it was easy. I can say I've done it, and there's the proof that I've done it.
Were you
And
proud as soon as you crossed the finish line?
yes, I was. Yeah, because
Did you cry?
I think I'd cried just before, probably like a mile before. I think I was listening to a song came on. I can't remember the song, and it was just a random song, and it just it says one line. I think there was like you've only got one shot, something like that. It wasn't Eminem,
Could be a
um,
Pitbull song, but I mean, it's
and that came on, and I just felt myself welling up, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get to it, just all those floods of emotion or the hard work that it's taken to get to this spot, and you're just on that victory lap to just yeah, just thinking about it now just makes me like just smile, just feel so proud of everything I've done. I won't be, there'll never be a moment that I'll be less proud of that moment, just proud of myself for doing that.
I remember crying after my first marathon, but I don't think it was pride. I think it was just relief. I
Well,
think
if
I was
they've done it.
just so happy that it was over. It was just like, "Oh god, it's done, thank God." Yeah, I don't think it was pride. I think for me, the pride was, like, maybe a little bit afterwards when I actually like, my brain worked enough to be like, "Oh, that's really cool." How about you,
Well,
Dan? Proudest moment?
that was emotional. How do I follow that? Quite frankly, it's probably gonna sound a bit dandy. It was in Oslo, and 2024 was a very challenging year for me. I'd done London, but about 8 weeks before that, I was hospitalised with a suspected heart issue, and they were gonna have to stick a pacemaker in me. In the end, it turned out it wasn't. You can hear more of the story on that on the Running Tales podcast, by the way. But we'll go into that in one day. We'll dig into that. We'll get me on the couch and we'll talk about it one day. But Oslo was my second race that year, so I had planned to do Oslo. London came along and was, I thought, okay, well, let's do it. But Oslo was. Remember standing on the line on a Saturday morning. Again, one of these weird things where they have a Saturday morning. They have Saturday races rather than Sunday races in Norway and Sweden. I stood there, and because I'd done so well at London earlier on that year, I thought to myself, "Do you know what? Just go out and have some fun today. Enjoy yourself, laugh, scream, shout, just work. Banter with the other people." And if you've ever been to Oslo, if anyone is listening who's ever been to Oslo, you will know that it's a very, very hilly city. It's not flat like Seville, not or Valencia or Copenhagen or any other number of cities that appear to be on a nice flat plain that are much better choices for a marathon. And I was doing really, really well. And it's a 2-lap course, so you go up into the up the side of the fjord, up into the higher bit of the city to Magistraten, um, back round through the sculpture park and back down to the town hall, and then you loop round through the Bislett Stadium, and then you do it all again. So you know what you've got coming. And I was doing really, really well. And I was looking at my watch. I was thinking, my God, I'm going to break 4 hours here. And I hadn't even set out to do that. So I was getting towards the finish, and I could see about a kilometre. You could see it down this one road on the second lap. I could see the 4-hour pacer right ahead of me, about probably within shooting distance, and every time I could see them, they were getting a bit further away, and I thought, "This is not happening. This is not happening today." And as I was going back towards the Bislett Stadium, they were coming out, so I knew that I was at least 400 meters away because I had to go around the track and then a bit more. And I spent the remainder of the next 5 kilometers or so, we were getting back to the finish, beating myself up, saying, "You're rubbish. You should have done better. Come on, you're better than this. You should have been able to catch them." And my watch clicked over to 4 hours, and I could hear the finish line, and my heart broke a little bit. And then reality kicked in, and sensible Dan said, "Shut up, you idiot. Look at where you were this time last year, and look at where you are now. You should be absolutely so grateful for this opportunity to just run this time." There was people who would give their right arm for that sort of time. And it was my proudest moment emotionally, because I just thought, I'm kind of like an adult now, really. So
Perspective, yeah.
across the line, celebrating like some sort of demented lunatic. And was greeted by my daughter, who'd come over to Oslo with me, and we went and had coffee and cake, which was great. So yeah, that was currently my proudest moment of running so far.
Yeah. You started with your head on straight, got a little bit what's the word? Like, influence to, maybe care a little bit about the wrong thing in the middle, but then you brought it back round to caring about what was most important, like you said, kind of finishing
Yeah,
cheering and full of joy.
it was lovely. I'd recommend Oslo as a city just to visit, but to do a running event there was phenomenal. You know,
I think we should all be proud of our proud moments. We shouldn't like discredit them at all, because they're all moments that sort of they're a part of us. They probably made us the runners that we are today, and
Mm,
probably every race we have that part of what made us proud, like within us, and we're always thinking about that moment when we were proud.
yeah. I mean, I'm proud of you guys. I would say let's have a virtual group hug, but we don't do hugs on the Chatty Runners.
No.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Shall we move on to the next bit then?
Let's do it.
This is the Chatty Runners podcast.
And now we've got ourselves warmed up, let's move on to this week's main topic. If you've spent any time on running social media, you've probably seen someone celebrating another world major or showing off their 6-star medal, ticking off another super half, or maybe just completing another race series. For some runners, they're the ultimate bucket list achievement. For others, they're becoming an expensive collection exercise that encourages runners to keep signing up, keep traveling further, and keep spending more money. So today we're asking, are the challenge series like the World Majors, the Super Halves, and others genuinely inspiring people to achieve incredible things? Or are they just some of the smartest marketing campaigns in the running world? And as always, there's probably not a simple answer like a yes or no, or even a right answer. So what are the major marathons? So originally they were made up of the Tokyo, Boston, London, Berlin, Chicago, and New York marathons. And completing all 6 of those major marathons earned you the Abbott 6-star medal. And it's obviously becoming one of the most recognizable achievements and medals in marathon running. But now it's no longer just 6. And as we know, the world major marathons have expanded. So Sydney became the 7th major, and then recently Cape Town has become the 8th major, and Shanghai is currently being assessed. And now Abbott have said that if Shanghai is approved, then the challenge will become the 9-star medal. And then, so that raises a real interesting question. Does that, so this is a question to you guys. Do you think that makes the finishing line just keep moving? Or, if you were halfway through earning your stars, would you be excited or would you be slightly frustrated?
This is such a tough question. I don't know if I should go first because I I don't think I have a strong opinion, but like I do have an opinion, which is I don't even think I'd ever be halfway through my stars. Like I feel so disenchanted by the idea of a major. I think like spoken before about how London, if I won a place, just like in a competition or something, I'd probably do it. But I think if I had to spend any of my own money to get to the start line and then run it, I just don't want to spend my time and my money on that kind of race. So like I don't think I'd even be in a position where that finish line kept moving. But to your point, I can see that other people would feel that. And if you're 5 out of 6 and you're so close to being able to kind of call it an achievement, not that the individual races that make it up aren't, but if you're 95% of the way there, of course, it's human instinct and nature to want to, just get to 100%.
They've just made the mountain a little bit higher, haven't they? They've
Yes.
just made it a little bit more difficult. My cousin Hannah, she had ambitions to do the 6, and it was perfectly achievable. She'd done Chicago, she'd done London, I think she'd done New York as well, and Berlin, possibly. I don't know, I'd need to check with her. But, she had aspirations to do it, and for one reason or another, it's now I wouldn't say it's beyond her because she's a very capable young woman. I say young woman, she's in her 30s, but anyone younger than me is a young woman. I think that the move to add the additional majors it's a double-edged sword because it should be spread around the continents, and there wasn't anything in Africa, and there wasn't anything in Australasia or in that area of the world, and there still isn't anything in South America. But to expand it like this would be interesting. If they had like a, say, for example, 6 majors, but it changed every couple of years or so, so they moved it to different cities, that might work. But this 9, it seems like somewhere in a room on Madison Avenue, Don Draper sitting there with a scotch and a cigarette going, "I've fooled these suckers again." It just feels like a marketing exercise to me.
Do you think it's made it more inclusive or just simply more expensive?
More expensive because if you want to go to Sydney, that's an awful massive outlay. You know, we to get air to get just the air flight over, that's gonna be a couple of thousand at least for one, for I don't know, I've not researched that much, but I had been researching flights to South Africa for a separate reason, which I might digress at some point. And that was expensive enough. And then if you've got to, because going to do a marathon on your own, that sort of distance, that's going to be a bit soul destroying. It's all right rocking up to your local 10K without anyone there to support you, but to go the other side of the world to do a marathon with no support, that I'd find that hard.
Do it. But not for a like, not for Sydney, not for a major, not for that cost, and, like, it is the cost is you're not just going to Sydney, you're going all over the world and to America multiple times. Like, that wherever you're based, you're gonna have to travel, and I think because, running an event in general are so popular and there's ballots or there's charity places or there's qualifications, people who are ticking them off and trying to get into each one, they don't have the luxury of going, well, I'll do one every 5 years because that's the way it works best for my budget and my savings and all the other things I want to spend money on in life. They're having to sort of take a chance when it comes to them, which might mean really having to stretch their budgets to be able to afford it all. But I think for that reason, it's massively inaccessible to most to most people and most runners who, aren't earning six-figure like salaries every year. I
Mm.
just think it's a really small group of people who are privileged enough to be able to even be sucked into the marketing of it all if that's the case. So
Yeah,
And then there's the expo as well.
yeah. Well, you're almost forced in, not forced, but you're sort of like, "Ah, I should buy something," and then, yeah, it just the money, it adds up, doesn't it? And it's you can't help but spend something, take away a momentum from an expo or something like that, which it's only how I felt. But it isn't just the Abbott's major marathons that are doing it. They are the super halves as well and other, organizations. But if we look at the super halves, you've got Lisbon, Prague, Berlin, Copenhagen, Cardiff, and Valencia, and then obviously complete all six of those, and you get that super medal. So it's those gimmicks, those like who people want a super medal.
Yeah.
It's there's also another one, the European Marathon Classics, where there's Rome, Vienna, London, Madrid, Copenhagen, Warsaw, Lisbon, and Frankfurt. But even though there's 8 there, you don't have to complete all 8 to get a medal. You can actually do 5 of the 8 to get the medal, which is yeah,
Yeah. They have said they are gonna expand that to 10 though, so you would have choice of any 5 really.
yeah.
And can I just reveal at this moment in time that I've booked my first race for 2027, and it's one of those European classic marathons.
Nice.
If you want to have a little game of guessing which one it is, bearing in mind I've done 2 of them already.
yeah, you like the Scandinavian, like Nordic countries, don't you? So I'm guessing it's not going to be like Copenhagen.
Done Copenhagen.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say Vienna.
I'm going to say Frankfurt.
Are those your final choices?
Maybe not because you didn't say we got.
One of you could be absolutely spot on.
Okay, then
The
final.
answer
Yeah.
the answer is Rome.
Oh,
The Eternal City, March next year, I will be taking on the Rome Marathon because I don't have any sense whatsoever. This old man is kind of just asking too much of himself, but, it's all good.
are you tempted to to get the medal for the European Marathon Classics?
Well, now I am.
Just as you
Now
get
I'm
closer
absolutely.
to the
It's like you probably haven't seen it, and this is going to carbon date me. The meaning of life, Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. There's a character called Mr. Creosote, just a wafer thin mint, sir, and it's like, oh, it's just a wafer thin mint. That's like I can do that because if I do complete the Rome Marathon, I've just got to think. Well, it's gonna be quite an easy sell to tell say my wife, "Do you wanna go to Vienna?" And she'll say, "It's the marathon, isn't it?" "Yeah, yeah, it's the marathon." Um, Frankfurt doesn't hold much appeal to me, but I'm sure, you know, Warsaw would be quite nice, you know? But, they might add 2 more, to where would you add to that those 8? What would you say would be a good choice to add to
Spain
that?
and France weren't really represented, were they? Or did I just not listen carefully enough to the list?
No, there's no Spain and, no France either. So you could probably add Paris to that, Paris Marathon, that would be a nice one
Mhm.
to add.
But
Um
I think London likes being
oh, sorry,
the
Madrid's in there.
Ah,
Madrid
yeah,
is one of the,
Ma
European marathons.
I
Madrid,
no,
Yeah,
actually could be my number 4.
yeah.
yeah, it's
That
like
was on my list for this year.
the
Go
sunk
on.
cost fallacy, isn't it? When you've spent quite literally spent so much and put so much effort in, and you'd feel like, well, I've gone this far. What's another? What's another one or two? Like you're saying, Dan, it may as well just a waff a thin mint away.
Absolutely. I'm glad you got that reference.
I've seen it, but mainly because my dad
Yes,
forced us to watch it as kids because he felt like it was the education we needed to grow up with, like a good sense of humor. So
absolutely, and you do have a good sense of humour. After all, you're
in
doing a
your
podcast
case,
with me. Okay, what other so we've talked about the European Marathon Classics. We've mentioned briefly the super halves. I know that, uh, to a lesser extent, UK listeners, and I know that we do have the odd, not in the sense that you are odd, but the odd 1 or 2 listeners from outside of the UK. But the Chester marathon organisers, they do obviously the half marathon and the 10K. They offer a Chester triple marathon, and there is the London Classics Marathon, which 2 of the events don't actually involve, uh, running at all. One's swimming in the Serpentine, and the other one was the now defunct Ride London Classic, which, again, I could get that medal because I've done 2 of those events, including the London Marathon. So the London Marathon, the Ride London, all I've got to do is throw myself into the Serpentine, which I don't think I'm keen on doing that.
So no London Classics medal for you then, Dan?
Yeah, no, I mean, the European classics, but only if the stars align. I'm not gonna go out of my way to do that. Um, I mean, would that appeal to you, Andre? Would you think, "Well, maybe I could do the one of those if it was just 5?" Is 5 the right number?
Yeah, I think so. I think but then I think I would it just depends on the cost, I think, and that's the probably my main obstacle is the cost. It's, in a world where we're all not as, rich as we probably once were, it's just difficult to justify spending a lot of money on going abroad just to run, for me personally anyway. But you never say never. I could win the lottery one day, and then it'd be more appealing.
after you'd given lots to charity and
Yes,
some to
definitely, yeah.
your co-hosts as well, just
Of
to
Absolutely,
course,
yeah.
of course, yeah.
a bonus. Yeah, I think
You've
that
br
yeah, the for the super halves, definitely there is still a cost to it, isn't there? Like they're closer together. It's in Europe, but it's still the expense of going between them. And I think for me, that's probably like 50% of the barrier. But it's also just I just like to pick races that I want to pick. We all know it's got to be flat, but I also I appreciate it when it's not really overcrowded, or I can pick the time of year and really think about what the weather conditions will be, or like how my training block will fall for like the rest of my life and the season of my life and the things that I've got going on around it. I think like I get probably too, I don't know, precision detailed into planning my race calendar. I think Dan does too, but again, maybe that's a topic for another podcast episode because we could probably go on and on. And I just think for me, if one of the super halves is the race that I'm looking for, I might go and do it. But I don't think many of them will be the race that I'm looking for. And I don't think I'd want to then collect them all just because I'd done one. If they ultimately weren't like the right type of race, the right time of year, all those factors I just said. So yeah, for me, it's the cost and the fact that it might not be the race I'm looking for.
And in all honesty, the super halves, all of them sell out really, really quickly anyway. So this is not an incentive to get people to do it. This is I can't see that. I can't see the reasoning behind it. Why would they wanna make these events even more popular than they already are? They you I mean, the majors, you got I mean, people are probably getting their emails as we speak for the 2-day London Marathon, which we touched on in the last episode, and they're probably, in the vast majority, getting a very disappointing email. But it 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 isn't gonna make it any easier to get into these events, and it's just it's almost like it's becoming a bit of a gatekeeper in its own way. It's kind of gonna prevent people from going, "Well, I can't get in those marathons," you know?
Yeah. Why do you think organizers are creating so many like challenge series now?
That's a good point 'cause I would have said money, but then you don't have to pay for you don't have to pay for the extra for these medals, do you? No,
Well, I suppose I suppose
you've
you
already
you
paid
actually
up
pay
front,
to
yeah.
get to the you pay for all of the races that you do, and yeah.
I think
And
it
we
is
just
money. I think
yeah.
it is marketing, and I think they're doing it because it is better, profits, there's better, revenue growth opportunities. The more demand, the higher you can start pushing the prices up and up and up, and your partnerships with the photography packages and everything else. Like, there's a million add-ons you can buy for any race.
Mm.
And I think that there probably is some efficiencies of scale in race organization. Like, maybe if you're purchasing your race insurance for 5 races rather than 1, you get a cheaper, like, insurance price for having them all covered. Like, there's probably some things, maybe even in, like, the people who are in the HQ running the event, like, if you have staff working on a whole calendar over a year, then it makes sense to have a certain amount of employees for the year rather than a really busy period, and then do you need staff at all for the rest of the year? So I think operationally, they're making savings by having more than one, and I think that in terms of the money that they're bringing in, it is bringing them on more money, and like you said, everyone's gonna get rejection emails, but year on year, the amount of people in the ballot for London, as an example, just going up and up too. So the demand is there, and then, you've got the database of everyone who wanted a spot who you can send an email and say, "Oh, better luck next time. How about this race instead?" Like, that whole marketing machine, literally just by having people's names and contact information, could keep running.
Yeah, but I mean, going to your point about, staffing and harmonizing that across the year, I don't in the European Classics, I think that the London Marathon organisers, LME, London Marathon Events, they now own the Frankfurt Marathon, but the others, they don't. Now, is this part of a play for them to start taking over these events? Am I, reading too much into this? Or is it just safety in numbers of let's create this series? Because I know that there are a lot of organizations out there, one of them being, ASO, who own the rights to the Paris Marathon and the Manchester Marathon. Maybe we're seeing a development here in the way that races are owned, that it's no longer an individual city, one organizer, that's all they do. Maybe we're gonna see regional players in this, and we're gonna see LME versus ASO versus another company. I mean, New York, that's organized by the New York Road Runners event, and that's they the same. And the Boston Athletic, they organized the Boston Marathon. So I would hope that they would keep their hands on those events rather than let them be taken over by some sort of corporate entity.
Suppose that's the way it's going now. They're not just selling you the one race anymore, as we're saying. They're encouraging like more race entries for other events. More travel, more hotels, more restaurants, race merchandise from expos, more shoes, more social media sharing. More return visits. It's a or like a mash of loads of things that they're all trying to. Even the local economy benefits as well. So there's almost something in it for everyone. Whereas the the economy gets the money in, the runners get the joy of actually being able to complete a race, get the medals, get the goodie bag at the end, and it's some people could probably say it's a win-win all round. Apart from the expense of having to actually pay for these events, if you overlook that, then if you don't want to do it, you don't have to pay for it, sort of thing. But it does create that sort of FOMO. If you are missing out doing that sort of thing.
But I mean, we don't know whether, for example, a lot of I mean, I know for a fact that Copenhagen has sold out year in, year out. Hasn't had a problem this year, even though it switched to ballot. So they've sold out this year. I know that some of the lesser city races, and I use that term very loosely because you've got London, you've got Berlin, and they're up at the top level. And then you've got the likes of Valencia, and then you've got other wonderful cities, but they don't necessarily have the same cachet as London or Berlin or any of the other cities, and they don't necessarily sell out. Or if they do sell out, it's like a month before they'll sell out completely. That's when they sell out. So it's not like it's gone before you can even click on on s- the link to buy it. And thankfully, they haven't gone down the route of dynamic pricing yet, because that would just be a step too far, where they kind of like say, "Oh, can you imagine that? 1.2 million people, dynamic pricing. You'd be paying like £1,000 to enter the London Marathon at that rate, I reckon.
Only if
Ridiculous."
you'd been looking at adverts for, like, very expensive watches and they think you can pay that much, though.
Then they don't want to look at my search history.
Let's all just start searching for, I don't know, little aisle, middle aisle stuff. Just cheap
Absolutely,
things.
yeah. Pound stretchers, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Do you think
So
that? Sorry. Do you think
no, go on.
that social media has made these sort of challenge series like even bigger than they actually are? Because obviously, without social media, no one would. They People would know about them, but not as much. The everyday runner now knows about the super halves. It's just, I suppose it's a testament to just probably the good side of social media, that these sort of challenge events can just thrive amongst the community and just spread and gain popularity.
I think so, yeah. I mean, social media is responsible for making us aware of so many things. Running is very, very popular at the moment. Social media. I every day I look through my Instagram. I obviously check the Chatty Runners Instagram as well to see what's going on, and it's always runners doing this, running, just doing that. This is my next challenge. It's a way of, and I don't want to say showing off. It's a way of kind of saying, look, I'm doing good things here, but at the same time, I also get in my feed a lot of races of kind of like, oh, have you considered this one? And that's how I plumped for the Rome one, because it came up on my feed and I thought, that looks good. Colosseum, look at that. And it kind of like, it did a drone shot where it went down over the crowd. And yeah, I'm easily sold to when you do impressive shots like that. I mean, Andre, you would have been looking at it from a technical perspective going, I see what they've done now. I know which kind of drone they're using. That's an impressive angle they've done there. Yeah, they're using 4K super wide or whatever it is. So yeah, social media does push this out, and when you see somebody who's done the 6 majors, and even if they've done more or done the super halves or the European Marathon Classics, you think to yourself, yeah, that's really is an achievement of just sheer dogged determination just to get through it all.
I think it's more inspirational when you see real, like, regular people, the ones who aren't, actual influencers, content creators, because obviously those people do amazing things. And I'm absolutely not trying to take away from that achievement, but there is the possibility they've been paid, and they've got their places to all of those paid for. And it's in their interest to talk about what an amazing experience it was because, okay, not the training, not the running itself. That is all, good hard effort, not taking that away from anyone, but the accessibility aspect of it, it was just given to them. They just got their places. And I think that this is what I actually think is great about runners. Is when you get into running, people who have just started running, people who maybe consider themselves a bit of a runner, they probably follow the influencers who have got millions of followers or 500,000 followers. And they probably are learning about the majors and the super halves through those people with a really big audience. But I think the longer you run, this is what I love is like you can just never have too much running. The longer you run, the more different types of people you might follow, the more your
Mhm.
algorithm will diversify, and you'll start to see, yes, people talking about the majors, but they are, everyday people with jobs and families and whatever else going on, which is maybe more relatable. But you'll also see the people talking about their local race or the one next door to the major or like Manchester instead of London. And I think you'll see, yes, lots about the great series, but you'll also see more of the other races that are available. Like to your point, Dan, even if it was actually an advert that you saw rather than just a runner's experience, like you learn about a new race in in that way because you're spending the time and yeah, the algorithm for all its downsides brought to you some inspiration that was actually just what you were looking for, which was the Colosseum apparently. And I'd just be thinking about the tiramisu, but it's going to be a great race.
The tiramisu, the coffee. Yes, the coffee.
The
Look,
question
we've got about over half an hour into this, and we've not mentioned coffee once, Andre, have we?
No, we haven't, no. I
No.
had a bad
Well, let's
coffee at the weekend, so
No,
yeah.
not a bad one.
I had a very bad one. Another iced latte from, Cafe Nero, and it was,
Okay.
a pistachio one, and
Huh?
it was horrible. It was horrible.
No.
It tasted too much like coffee. That's the problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say we've just signed a multi-million-pound deal with Cafe Nero. They've just cancelled it, Andre. Thank you. You've
Have
ruined it for us.
have you had a
Other
good
coffee
one
outlets are
since?
available.
I had a homemade iced latte, and that was very nice.
So you're back on good terms. Okay,
Yeah,
this is
because
good.
like, half
We
a
haven't lost you.
coffee, half a teaspoon of coffee, that's about as much as I can, yeah.
Great, grain by grain. Love it.
Homeopathic coffee.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have digressed to coffee. So we were talking about being impressed by social media, weren't we? And experiences that people have had there. And um, do you know what? I was thinking about this because I'm going to do a video on my channel, Other Adventures Await Me, about why I chose the marathons I did. And I think I'm a little bit of an outlier because, yes, I always wanted to do London, but the other 5 majors as it was, I was never that interested in doing, in all honesty. London has always, being from the UK, London has always been the one you've got to do. It's like, if you've not done London, you've not really run a marathon, have you? Even though you have, probably.
I think the first time I met you, Dan, I think when we were talking about marathons, I think I said to you, you know, London is that one that everyone knows about. Like,
Mhm.
like even non-runners know about London, and unfortunately, non-runners don't tend to know about other marathons that go on in this country. So, whenever you say, "Oh, I've done a marathon," no matter what marathon you've done, they say, "Have you done London?" If you haven't done London, to them, it just feels like you haven't done a marathon, when
Yeah.
that shouldn't be the case. Because whatever marathon you do, wherever it is, you've done a marathon. Just because you've done it in London, that's irrelevant to the fact that you've achieved, being able to do a marathon. It shouldn't deter that the thing that you've achieved, that marathon. It's frustrating to hear because all the years, are you going to do a marathon? I said I'd never planned to do London. It just fell into my lap. Well, I was going to be happy just doing the Shakespeare marathon, and that would have been I would have still been as proud as I was when I finished New York, finishing that Stratford one. Um, but yeah, it's
It's still 26.2 miles,
yes.
42.2 kilometers, no matter which event you do. So it shouldn't, in actual fact, London as a marathon, you've got that long downhill start, and it's not the most difficult marathon out there, is it?
The crowd.
Still, yeah,
Like,
still hard.
I've supported a friend at the Stratford, the Shakespeare Marathon, and she did amazingly, and I was obviously a wonderful support, but, like, there was no one there. You're just, like, going for a really long run, and depending on if other runners in the race are around your pace and, like, they're making the same progress as you throughout the distance, like, you could just be by yourself for quite a long time. So I would say you should be, or anyone would be, like, maybe prouder of that kind of race than London because the crowds, the distractions, like the buzz well, for me, would make
Mhm.
that race feel a lot easier than a race where it's just really quiet.
Yeah, definitely. Because yeah, people talk about the crowds giving you that extra bit of, but what about the places when there is no crowd? And as you were saying, you've got to do it on your own. Those places, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, Sophia, you did was it a 10, I can't remember whether was it was a 10K in Cheshire a while ago, from the Cheshire Showground, and I know I did the half marathon earlier on in the year, and but for a few pockets of places where there's little bits of population, there's nobody out there. You've
Mm.
got the marshals occasionally, you've got, somebody out from a house that happens to be on the route that can't get out, and that's that's really pushing you when you've kinda like you've got nobody but other runners around you, and despite the fact that we are the chatty runners, not every runner is as chatty as we are when we're out. You know, it's sometimes some of them perhaps don't actually like talking to or being talked to. You know, they give you that look as if to say, "Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you, you strange man." So it's it's you're right. It is more of an achievement to go to a smaller event, not just a marathon, but just a smaller, a smaller half marathon, 5K, 10K, whatever distance. I mean, ultra marathons, that's just stupid. The support, you would never get any support out there, and you come rolling into the feed station and you get support there, and anyone you pass is likely to be kind of out for a hike anyway. And that takes real gumption to kind of really push through that sort of thing without that sort of support. But I, I mean, what I when I did Stockholm, I had this dream of doing Oslo and then Copenhagen and doing what I created my own little series called the Tre Krona, the Three Crowns, um, just to kind of like, and it doesn't exist in anything apart from in my own imagination, and it was a wonderful place to be. And it was a sense of achievement for me of thinking I've done the three Scandinavian capital marathons, and I'm happy at that. Um, I don't think anyone should feel the pressure to do the majors. Do you?
No,
No.
no. Sorry.
Perfectly synchronized there.
But equally 9 is a stupid number. I mean, I would say let's 5 would probably have been the limit. 6, yeah, I'd allow, but let's move it around. They could actually turn it into a series where, if it was spread out over 2 years, they could have like a marathon world series where, uh, each runner, would you'd take an aggregate time of what it is or an average time, for each athlete, and then ultimately you could have somebody in the last event of say the second year potentially racing somebody else, and if they hit a certain time, if they're like 30 seconds out, they could be like the series champion, something like that, to make it more interesting for at the top end. And then just change it around every 2 years and just say, okay, London, your turn to sit out for 2 years. I don't think that would affect the numbers at London. If anything, it would probably make it more enjoyable just to spread that sort of series around. But I'm guessing commercially that wouldn't work.
I think because probably the marathons are balloted, it just makes it like a bit awkward. Say if someone's chasing that medal, for example, and this is the first time that they get a ballot place, and then it's a is it fallow year that describe how when something misses out. I'm sort of heard it for Glastonbury today. If that's the wrong word, I apologize. So let's say it's a fallow year for London, and someone's got in, but this year it's not part of the major marathons, and then they miss out on the medal just because of it's a bit unfair for that individual. Uh,
Yeah.
but I've got
That's
a
it.
question.
Go on.
I've got a question for you, Dan. Have you ever been to Rome before?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is not relevant to you. I was just wondering if it wasn't for the marathon or somewhere even like Copenhagen, or if it wasn't for the races that you do, would you have ever gone to those cities?
Yeah. So I love to go to cities generally. And um, Stockholm was somewhere I worked first. I was lucky enough to work in Stockholm at a chocolate factory, of all places, and I fell in love with it, with the country, with the Swedish sensibility. Started reading Nordic noir, Wallander, the Martin Beck mysteries, and The Girl with Dragon Tattoo, the Millennium series. I read the first 4 books. The first 3 were really good. The fourth one wasn't so good. Anyway, we're not talking about Nordic noir here, even though it's excellent. Really embraced the Scandinavian culture because it is very interesting to somebody from this side of the North Sea to look over and see what they're doing over there. And I would have visited all of those cities and had visited all of those cities not only with work but also on a personal basis. And it's only since I did uh, uh, after I so for my 50th birthday, my wife took us away to Oslo for a trip. Uh, I checked to see whether there are any park runs in the area, and I thought, "Oh, I wonder if there's like a half marathon or anything on that year," just out of idle interest, and it worked out that it was exactly on the weekend that we were gonna be there. So I shouted downstairs, "I'm entering a half marathon in Oslo when we're away," and she said, "It's your 50th present. You can do with it what you want." And next thing I know, 2023, I'm lining up in Stockholm thinking, I love this city, but it's bloody hot and I've got to run 26.2 miles around it. I would, there are cities I've been to, like Geneva, that I would consider running around as well. Marrakesh, which I've just recently come back from, I would consider doing the Marrakesh Marathon. Um, Yeah, most cities. Madrid, I'd like to do. Barcelona. There's not enough time in my life to do all of these events. I'm going to have to cherry pick them.
Don't
But
say that. You might have centuries left, so there might be plenty of time.
am I like that guy on the guy who's paying all that money to like have all these drugs and things like that, and this lifestyle that makes him look like he's 20 something when he's actually the same age as me.
You might be
Um,
luckier because you might not have to spend all that money and just be blessed with longevity. So, yeah, don't
I
count
hope
it
so.
out. Keep the bucket list long. Keep
I want
keep working through it.
I want to be the oldest person running a marathon.
That's a
It's
fun
probably
goal.
yeah. So here we are in episode 9,425 of the Chatty Runners podcast. And we're all in like our we're saying we're gonna have to wrap this up because last of the summer wine's on in 10 minutes and I want to go and watch that. Yeah, no, I'll be honest with you. There are so many marathons I would like to do. I mean, Sophie, you want to do some more in Spain. I think you mentioned Malaga,
Yeah,
but
Malaga's my next target if I can get a spot there for 2027. I haven't thought that much further ahead. But yeah, I guess I would be happy to go to a lot of the cities in Europe that I've visited. I haven't done a ton of long haul travel. Not the best flyer, although I'm getting better at it. But yeah, I've just never really been drawn to the idea of like flying to America or somewhere. I mean, again, it's expensive. It's a long time on a plane, which I'd rather not be on a plane. Um, so yeah, and can't really say for places further afield, but I'd be really happy to go back to like a lot of the cities in Europe that I've visited
Mhm.
just for tourism. And yeah, I don't think there's anywhere where I'm like, I'd only go there for a race. Um, I think I do like traveling, so I tend to sort of enjoy seeing new places. I mean, I guess maybe Valencia wouldn't have been on oh, sorry, it's on my dog's radar apparently. Maybe Valencia wouldn't be on my radar for just like a weekend away, but obviously it's such a destination for the marathon.
Well, when we did Valencia, we made a week of it, and with Rome, my plan is to go for a bit longer. Manchester, I didn't stay so long, um, not for any reason, but it's so close to where I live in Telford in Shropshire that it's only about an hour and a half away. We go for day trips there sometimes, but um, I wouldn't. If you go, certainly if you go to a European city, I would say get a few days either side to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I'm in a different boat to probably both of you because I pretty much don't travel anywhere, like even internally. I'm happy just generally staying within the Birmingham area. I'm trying to branch out and things like that. So I probably would only go to a city to do a race or something like that, and then come back. Um,
But that's so amazing that, like, that is inspiring enough and, like, enough of a motivation for you to branch outside of what your I'm not gonna say comfort zone because it's more than comfort, it's what you enjoy, it's what you
Yeah.
prefer, it's like your happy place is Birmingham. Like, that sounds so cute because so many people just hate Birmingham. But yeah, I think that's great that you have your kind of standard way of, um, interacting with travel, but then running just comes and says, "Yeah, let's let's go." And you're like, "Yeah, let's go."
I think New York definitely opened up a something in me where it was just like you've traveled out there on your own. You've obviously met some wonderful, essentially strangers at the start, and then they've become like I'd like to say friends, but you know, they probably don't say it like that. But it felt like a tight knit group, and it was just something out of my comfort zone that I'd never done before. Just going, as I said, going out on my own, just doing the thing, and then thousands of miles away, and then coming back. It just means that I can do that now, and going somewhere within Europe doesn't actually sound, even though I'd probably be terrible at a foreign language, the sort of thing. And obviously, you go to America, they speak
Most
English.
Brits are. No one speaks the languages, we're terrible.
You do know I'm fluent in Italian.
And give us a
And I'm
sentence.
joking. I'm only
Ah,
joking. I
I was
can't
gonna
speak a
say,
word of Italian.
we're learning too much about you on this
I
episode.
don't know any Italian.
At
I would
some
just
point, we have to find out more about the chocolate factory.
I will tell you on the next park run we go to. This is actually kind of a quasi, with all of the talk of the majors and different places going to run. How far would you go for these relative distances?
well, I've traveled thousands of miles away, so I feel like that's my limit. I don't think I didn't really want to ever go to America, but then obviously the opportunity came along, so I'd be happy just going within Europe, doing things like that. I think that's my limit now. I don't think
Hmm.
I'd want to go any further out. So I know, I mean, even though I've got 2 stars on the going achieving 6 is I don't it's not really on my radar because I know that I wouldn't ever go to. I mean, I'd love to go to somewhere like Tokyo, but or Sydney or somewhere like that, but I just feel like it's just out of my grasp and probably out of my budget as well for me to be able to achieve those.
Is there a city in Europe you'd go, yeah, I'd go there, even just to visit? You go, yeah, I'd go, and maybe take my trainers, go for a run round
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah.
So, could we convince you for maybe 2028, a little trip down the Champs Elysees, Andre?
I think, yeah, definitely. With my 2 French names, yeah, I think Paris is definitely one that I'd love to do.
You do sound
Okay,
that's a very French name, you're right.
I know. Andre Cardin, not Andre Cadin, Cardin. Sophia, I mean, are there any cities that you would go, God, I've got to run. I want to go to that, and I would, on the auspices of doing it as a marathon, would you consider that?
No, there's nowhere really that's like, "Oh, I'm desperate to go there, and I also really want to run the marathon there." I'm like I say, it's more like, is it the right field size? Is it the right time of year? Is it the right, 0% elevation? And then if that were in, outer Mongolia, then I'd probably be like, "Cool, that's where I'm going." So yeah, I'm very like, if I'm going for a goal, I'm very kind of narrow-minded about it. But if I were, I don't know, let's say like on a hen party or a group trip that I'd like signed up to do as a social thing, and then there happened to be a 10K or a half marathon or something that fun, and I had enough time in the itinerary, like free time in the itinerary, then I might be like, oh, I'll jump in and do that for my long run that week. Maybe. But also I am very happy just like running by myself and
Mhm.
saving the entry costs. So yeah, not sure.
Yeah, for somebody who describes yourself as your running bestie, you can come across a little bit as antisocial. It's like, no, I just want to run on my own. I'm your running bestie, but I'm just on my own. Just that's
I
far enough.
love
That's
running
what it
with
does, love.
people, but I'm also very happy running by myself. And, again, we haven't got time to get into the astrology of it all, but it's because I'm an Aquarius, so
Okay, I say. Okay, good to know that you're an Aquarius. Well, we know your date of birth anyway, so yeah. So let's. I don't know. Have we come to a conclusion here?
think so, and I think I have something to admit to both of you.
Go
Something
on
that I
then.
signed up to 2 days ago. It's something that runs through the whole of July, but I signed up to it anyway. It's part of the Great Run series. We were talking about medals, and they do I think it's called the Great Run Solo Summer Challenge, and all you need to do is 12 runs in July, 12
Mhm.
runs or walks, and then you get a medal at the end of it. And I signed up to it 2 days ago, and I've already done 2 runs. I've got another 10. I'm a sucker for a medal, and
It Yeah,
one of
I
the
saw.
things that I actually want to do is I want to try and achieve all of the Great Run medals, because I feel like that's quite a, quite an not easy, but it's quite achievable for me
Yeah.
because it's obviously internally and within the country and obviously the UK. Sorry, um, that, yeah, that's my plan. So however long it takes, complete all the Great Run
Well
challenges.
well, Andre, when you aim to do the Great South Run, I think I'd like to run that with you because that's I was born in Fareham. I'm not saying when what month of the year I was born, because that's something you guys need to guess over the over the over the time. But I would the Great South Run, not and Sophia, you'd like it. It's flat.
Sounds great.
So it could be a team outing maybe in the future. Only 10 miles as well, but all within our wheelhouse. So inconclusive. I don't think we've kind of really got to anything. I don't think, but I think that it's a marketing exercise, isn't it? All these majors and things like that, and just go out and run the races you want to. Would you agree?
100%. I think it is a
Absolutely.
marketing exercise, but in the same vein, if people really want to run those races and they want to collect them all and that makes them happy, then go for it. I think that's wonderful, but I just don't think it's for everyone, and I think the cost is a big part of that.
Yeah, I agree. Just yeah, the cost is a major thing as to particularly in the environment now where everyone's like looking after their money, and then another challenge comes out and they want more money. It's if you can afford it and you want to do it, go for it. If you don't want to do it, then don't feel the pressure to have to do it.
Yeah. Okay. I think that answers our question. Should we move on then? This is the Chatty Runners podcast. So the hard effort of the main section of the show is done and dusted. And blimey, didn't we go through absolutely everything there? I'll be honest with you. I think the Chatty Runners name of the podcast is very apt because we just chatted and chatted and chatted about anything. And we kind of went off at a tangent at one point, and yeah, it was great. Anyway, so we're now ready for the cool down. And I've got a question. I've thought about this long and hard. Andre, you kind of were with me well, I say you were with me and I was with you. We were together at Edgbaston Reservoir on Saturday. Sorry, Sophia. You were too busy enjoying yourself in Italy listening to cheesy noughties music. Um, so we saw a man dressed as a banana um, running the 5K, and he's doing a number of events out there. Max, hello, Max, if you're listening to the podcast. Um, so, in the races that we've done, what are the fancy dress costumes you've seen at different races? Are there any kind of you guys have seen? What do you think?
At London, it's not like a it's. I saw a guy in like full cricket whites, and he had his pads on, and he was carrying a cricket bat. He had his helmet on, and he was like every now and again he'd like pose to do like a shoot a six or something like that, and then everyone would go hey, that sort of thing, and then he'd run 100 meters, do exactly the same thing. It's not a crazy fancy dress suit. It's not like one of those dinosaur things, but it was something unique that I hadn't seen before at a race.
Yeah.
He was really
That,
committed to it as well, like, it wasn't just a costume, it was his whole identity for that race.
Yeah, yeah.
that's a long walk back to the pavilion anyway, isn't it? Well, how much did you score today? 26.2. You can't score point 0.2 of a run. Sophia, you must have seen a few. You must have seen.
don't remember any. I was thinking about this and really trying to go scrape back through, but either I've seen people in fancy dress costumes and just then immediately forgotten it, or I just genuinely haven't, like, encountered any. Like, I know from race posters and, like, social media posts, clips of the London Marathon, I know people are out there in fancy dress costumes, but I can't think of a single one I've seen in real life.
Do you know of Big
Terrible.
Pink Dress? There's a guy, go and look him up on Instagram, Big Pink Dress. I follow him, I think on Instagram, Big Pink Dress. I met him at the National Running Show, and he runs, and no word of a lie, I'd be challenged to move in anything that sort of size. I've not seen him running in it, but I am assured that he does the Great North Run and all sorts of things like that. And he dresses up, raises money for charity, and he's just in this massive dress with big shoes on and hair and everything. And how he even moves in it, I don't know. But I think the best fancy dress well, the worst, I think, because it nearly caused a bit of an issue. In the London Marathon, when I did it, 2024, there were 8 people, and they were dressed as a London bus. And there was a bit where the course narrows, and it was causing a bit of a backlog. Now, you wouldn't get that sort of thing at some races, so I think it's something that's possibly more unique to British races. If you went to Boston, said, "Yeah, I'm gonna run as, I don't know, I'm gonna run as an American footballer," you'd probably be told, "No, you're not doing that. This is a serious race. This is Boston. You don't do that." And I don't remember seeing anybody too much in fancy dress at Valencia. Stockholm, though, there was a whole group of people dressed as characters from Lord of the Rings. And Gandalf, the guy who was dressed as Gandalf the Grey, I ran past him at one point, and he was catching me up, and I moved a bit faster, and I shouted at him, "You shall not pass!" And he did anyway, because I was horrendously slow at that point. So yeah, it's a weird one, that, because I'm just trying to think. Didn't see it in Valencia, didn't see it in Copenhagen. Is it a bit below running to kind of like be in fancy dress to run like that in some races?
I was just wondering whether it was a British thing, because obviously, how was it in Manchester?
Trying to think. I think there were a few, um, but again, I don't. Unless they absolutely stand out, then I mean, I remember from the first London Marathon. I'm that old, by the way. From the first London Marathon, I think there was a guy who had a tray with a bottle of wine on it, and he carried it all the way around with a bottle and a glass all the way around without dropping it. And at the finish, he drank it all. Obviously, um, why wouldn't you? Um, and that was kind of like one thing. And I think they can go a bit far. Some like the bus one was a bit too far. Um, I can't imagine running in that sort of get up. It just would be just horrible. I mean, I I for a school fete one time a few years ago, 15, 20 years ago, I dressed up as the mascot of Shrewsbury Town Football Club, Lenny the Lion, and went in goal and tried to save penalties. It was a blisteringly hot day. There were 3 of us. We kept having to change over every 20 minutes because it was that hot. We were just dehydrated. Um, so to run a marathon in a costume like that, even in, say, a cool April day that's only about 15 or 16 degrees, is going to be hot. So uh, I won't do that. I'm happy dressing in very bright colours, and as long as it's proper racing kit, then I'll be fine. So that wasn't the overwhelming kind of success I thought it would be, that particular question, but we've got some interesting ones out there. So let's just do a few shout outs to people. I want to do a shout out to Rodney Lowe, Run with Rodders. Thank you for your kind comment, because we asked a question about what's the strangest thing you've received in your race bag, and he came back with a falafel wrap after the race, which I have to admit I quite like the sound of. So hello, Rodders. We'll see him at the Unity 5K, or at least Andre and I will, unless Sophia hasn't yet booked herself.
Actually, still not sure if I'm gonna be available that weekend, but I will either be there or I won't.
Okay. 2 options. I'm either there or not. It's Schrodinger's race. Which one is it? Um, And who else? So Emma Smiles and Mugs, I think that's her name on Instagram. She put a story on her story about the Chatty Runners podcast, episode 2. She said, episode 2, loving it, absolutely brilliant. Did somebody pay her? Somebody know her? You know, she's lovely, always very bright. So it's always nice to get very positive feedback from people on social media and via email. So I was very pleased to see that sort of thing. But heard some very nice people talking about our podcast as well. Um, yeah, getting some really good positive feedback from those who enjoy it. Let's share this podcast with your running friends or even your non-running friends because they might get something out of it. When we were at Birmingham, the Reservoir in Edgbaston, we should really get cards printed up with QR codes on it to kind of like scan and, oh, there it is. There's the podcast and things like that. So maybe T-shirts, mugs, hats, a whole kit and caboodle. No, we're going a bit too far there.
Well, we might know
Um,
someone with a photocopier, so
oh. Well, I'm in
maybe
technology. I can set up the QR code. So let's draw this to a close, this podcast, because the hour is slipping away. Um, so weekend plans. Should we start with you, Andre? What do you got planned for this weekend?
Tomorrow I am doing the Birmingham Black Country Half Marathon. So it's from Wolverhampton to Birmingham, all along the canal. So it's start at 9:15 tomorrow morning. So I'm looking forward to that. I've actually wanted to do that one for a couple of years. So yeah, that's what I've got. That's my only running at the moment that I've got planned for this weekend.
Okay. And have you got a torch as well?
It's because there's a long tunnel, isn't there?
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna brave it. I'm gonna brave it. I'm gonna go through in the dark. Hopefully, one of the in the group that I'm with, they might have a torch. I could use my phone. I could use my phone.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is that. And Sophia, are you worried that he might fall in the canal?
yeah, that's exactly that's where my head went. I
Yeah.
just yeah. If you're getting used to the change in the lighting levels, be careful.
Hopefully, there's a barrier on my right hand side that I
Yeah,
can.
they do have those, don't
Yeah,
they? Yeah. Oh, you'll be fine then, yeah. You'll have a great race, and I mean, it's warm here in the UK, but, like, it'll be earlier in the day, and I don't think it's not we're not in heat wave part 2 just yet, so I think it will be good conditions for it, and have you had some carbs this evening yet, or is that what you gotta go and do next?
no, I haven't even eaten yet, so I've got to.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
it's not
I've got. Yeah,
hydrate and eat. Stat. But I'm excited for your race,
yeah, I
and,
can't wait.
yeah, I don't have any plans for this weekend, so I'm boring. I will run. That's
You
about
will
it,
run.
basically.
Park run? You're not gonna go to Ludlow or what was that? Was it Queen's
No,
Park or something
not
like
for me. I mean, I've got an appointment to have my nails done tomorrow, so I can't do a park run. But I have to do 13 miles and then just a short run on Sunday. But yeah, that's it really, just to probably do loads of laundry because it's nice weather for drying clothes, but that's a runner's problem, isn't it? Too much laundry, so
You're either in the shower or putting stuff into the washing machine, aren't you?
yeah.
Yep, yep. What about
Terrible.
you, Dan? What's your plans for this weekend?
So tomorrow, I'm heading to, the Isabel Trail in Stafford to do another first time park on a bit of tourism. I was planning on absolutely going for it, but looking at some of the videos and the description of the course, although it's a flat course, I don't think it's the sort of one where you've really got a lot of space to really free yourself up and run because it just seems a little bit tight, a little bit narrow. So I'm not going to go for a PB there um, because on the Sunday I've got the Shrewsbury 10K which I've entered, and it's my mum's going to be out in the course. There's going to be lots of people I know there, lots of people from the Telford Harriers Running Club doing it. Also, a lot of people from 40 Runs. Hello to all of you guys there, including Karen, the instigator, the troublemaker of 40 Run Shrewsbury. Um, Lovely woman. um, just a bundle of energy she is. Always she's always kind of like in the middle of something, shall we say, of organising something, and so yeah, she's one of those people, and makes me look almost kind of laid back and and kind of, yeah, a shy retiring wallflower by comparison. She's a real leader. And then I've got a barbecue with the cycling club on Sunday afternoon, so I've got not a minute to myself um, at all this weekend. It's going to be literally running around picking up awards for the cycling, getting other things for people at the cycling as well, and probably on Sunday night flop down the chair and go, I've got work in the morning.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
rough.
Oh yeah,
Strong coffees on Monday morning.
absolutely. I think there'll be a few going around, but that's not because of people running this weekend. There'll be other reasons, but we don't talk about that on this podcast because that's not what we're here for. Sophia, do you want to tell us your socials, where you are
Yeah,
on your socials?
I'm on Instagram at Sophia the Runner.
Sophia the Runner, your running bestie, I think your subtitle is. Andre, do you want to tell us which multitude of social media platforms you're on and the name?
You can get me at Andre Runs with a Z. At some point, I'm going to say stop saying with a Z, but you can get me Andre Runs at YouTube, Instagram, and pretty much everything. I'm on the Andre Runs.
Well, I've started my own social media network, but it's exclusively for people called Dan, Daniel, or Danny. It's called Only Dan's. No, I'm joking. I can be found on Instagram at Other Adventures Await Me. I'm also on YouTube as Other Adventures Await Me, and also on Facebook as Other Adventures Await Me. We as a group are on Instagram as Chatty Runners Podcast. Please go and give us a follow. We're getting an awful lot of followers. I mean, it's going up and up and up really on a daily basis. I wake up every morning and there's like 5 or 6 people who followed us, and we do follow back as well. So I click on that. We're trying to put some content out on there. You've probably seen videos that we've done. We'll share our own stuff that we've done, which generally is Andre running and talking to the camera, making some very good, profound videos. There's Sophia doing something genuinely amusing, and Luke running in the forest somewhere, listening to some kind of like pit bull or something like that, and I make something terrible and think that it's some sort of epic. But there we go. Please go and check out our socials. So shall we wrap this up, guys? As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been the highlight of my week. It's given me something to look forward to this week. Not that it's been a bad week, but just because we missed out last week, I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm hoping you're going to say, yeah, we were really looking forward to it as well.
I was, and we're back. We'll be back on track now. And really excited for both of your races this weekend. So excited to catch up next week and find out how they went.
Absolutely.
Good
Andre?
speaking to you. Good speaking to both of you as always. Definitely a highlight of my week.
Absolutely. So this has been the Chatty Runners podcast. We've loved doing it. We hope you've loved listening to it. And please tell the world about us. They need to know. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Ciao. Au revoir. Arrivederci. Whatever.
Bye.
Bye.